Hello and good morning, everyone, or good morning my time anyway. Welcome to Straight Talk on Social Media. This is Ian Desher, Digital Marketing Specialist from Pivot Group, talking to you today. There is construction and painting going on in the Pivot office all around me, but Straight Talk on Social Media goes on, and everyone here has promised to be at least a little bit quiet. I want to tell you all, in case you don't know, that right after our webinar today, we're going to have another webinar with Dave Neustraden, who's going to be talking about our Bowl Challenge. Now, somehow PowerPoint has gone funny and is not showing you those titles, so I'm going to back up here, and you'll be able to see that here. But basically, Dave's going to do a 15-minute webinar to introduce you to our Bowl Challenge Picket contest. That's going to be happening right after our webinar today, so I've told Dave that I will end about 5 minutes early in case any of you want to jump onto that webinar. In your GoToWebinar control panel that you have right now, if you click on the Chat tab, you should actually see the link there to register to that webinar, so that you can register either for today's at 11:30, so you can get on that right after this, or he's also doing it on Tuesday, November 22nd at 9 o'clock in the morning Pacific time. In case you want to join that one. And you can register for, I think you can register for either one of those at the link that's on the chat. So just know that that's happening, and know that we'll be ending a little early today because of that. Some news as we get started today. Facebook is approaching a settlement with the United States government about some of their privacy practices. The government had gotten in with Facebook about some of the privacy issues, especially surrounding underage users, and it appears that there's a settlement coming near with that, which is good news for Facebook and probably good news for users as well. But speaking of privacy, the thing I want to focus on in the news today, I don't know if you've heard of the Stop Online Piracy Act, also known as SOPA. This is what I'm going to show you here is an infographic that was put together and I found on Mashable, and it clearly has a bent to it. It clearly has a bias to it. What you should know is that in the last week, the SOPA has been debated in Congress. It has a lot of support, but recently, a letter came from Facebook and Google and Twitter and others, including AOL and Yahoo, all banded together to urge Congress not to pass this act. Basically what it is, as you see here, is it's a bill that will allow the U.S. government to block Americans from visiting websites. The blocking works using DNS blocking. Of course, this infographic is telling you it's the same censorship that's used by China, Iran, and Syria, so that's meant to scare us. But basically it means that certain sites could be censored so that you can't go to them. A site gets blocked because of multiple possible complaints about the site, either that it's using information that doesn't belong to it, or it hasn't done enough to stop its users from posting copyrighted material, things like that, or that it's a rogue website. You can see that here. The big thing that Facebook and Google and Twitter and all those services are complaining about is that they have hundreds of millions of users, and basically the bill would allow if a user of Facebook ends up using a lot of copyrighted material and doing things that they shouldn't do, Facebook as a website itself could be censored under this Stop Online Piracy Act. And so the danger that these companies see is that they could be blamed and see the consequences for some of their users' activities, particularly if they're not policing them as strongly as they should be. And here you can see some of that. What might happen if a website does get itself in trouble under this act. Search traffic can be blocked, web traffic can be blocked, ad revenue, those sorts of things. And then it talks about how it affects users on the whole. Certainly, that sites you visit regularly could be blocked, things like that. And then it talks about the support that it actually has in the Senate and in the House of Representatives, where it appears that there is pretty good bipartisan support for this. So that's sort of just the news that I think you need to know about the Stop Online Piracy Act. It does sound like, without trying to throw too much of a bias into it, it does sound like maybe the act is not as well thought out as it could be in terms of its language, but it is interesting to, it could change, certainly it could change, if not, the landscape of what websites are available or censored. It could definitely change the sort of privacy practices, copyright practices, sort of the policing that goes on around the content that's shared on those sites. So just really interesting issues that it brings up. With that said, I want to move into the focus for today, which is straight talk on Google Plus company pages. Within the last 2 weeks, which is also part of the news, I suppose, Google Plus did unveil its pages for companies, very similar in many ways to what Facebook pages allow companies to do. And what I'm going to do here in this section of the webinar is just walk you through what it looks like to set up a Google Plus company page. As soon as they said that they were allowing this, I went ahead and set up the pivot page, and only about 2/3 of the way through the process that I think, oh yes, I should start taking screenshots. So I actually, you'll see some mixed screenshots of various setup processes here. But first of all, I do want to show, just in terms of sort of a reality check when it comes to Google, Google Plus's numbers are sort of continuing to slow down in terms of the traffic that it's getting. You can see this big spike here, which was in sort of mid-late September, and that was when Google Plus sort of took itself out of beta and became available to anyone, and not just people who had a specific invitation. And so that was the point at which there was a large spike in terms of number of traffic, and it's sort of been steadily decreasing since then. We here at Pivot are sort of at the point of saying, yes, go ahead and set up your Google Plus company page. It's a good thing to do, to have that presence there, but don't expect it to necessarily take over Facebook's place in terms of the amount of traffic that you're going to see, the amount of engagement you're going to see with customers and things like that.